What is good, everybody? Man, it's your boy Jay in the building. We're back again with the video. Before we get this video started, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Okay, Hampton versus Jackson State. Now, we got a team in Jackson State who is primed to make another run at the Celebration Bowl. Not only that, I think the question that I probably had in my mind for, going into the season for them is, are they going to be able to go through this year undefeated? And as good as some of these teams are that they have on their schedule this year, they go to FAMU. They play Southern Miss, and they still have to play Alabama State. So they do have some tough games, but I don't know. Like, me personally, I'm on the side of no, because it's going to be a long season, but I do have them going back to the Celebration Bowl. That's me personally. But they're going up against a Hampton team that have a lot of new faces. A lot of new faces, starting with the quarterback. And really, the only returning weapon on offense that Hampton has is Jaquan Snipes at running back. Their leading rusher a year ago. He had about 500-something yards with 8 touchdowns, but that's really their only returning weapon that they have coming back on offense. And then on defense, the only two guys I've seen on defense coming back is Mike Hicks at DB and then Matthew Canty at linebacker. Outside of that, they have a lot of new faces on the starting offense and defense. They have about 33, from what I saw, 33 players that knew that came in. And I think so much so that we might even see some freshmen on both sides of the ball. I'm talking about starting freshmen. And for me, now, even though Hampton, we're going to see a completely new Hampton team from last year, this is not a team that any HBCU team should sleep on, because even though they've been out the MEAC for a while, they still play about 3 MEAC teams a year. Of course, you got Howard. A lot of years they play Virginia State. They play Norfolk State from time to time. And they don't play when it comes to playing against HBCU teams. And they are on a nice little win streak against the SWAC. I think they played Grambling State, last year or 2 years ago. And then I think Valley State a couple years ago. But mind you, they only played against 2 SWAC teams within the last 5 years or so. But still, but when it comes to the HBCU teams that they play against, they normally don't play around. But I know that Jackson State is a totally different beast, and they are on a completely different mission. So, and it's going to start with Jacobian Morgan. He's entering his final year with, I think, a lot of new weapons from last year, for sure. And I think the defense is a lot better than they were last year. I think this team, with this game right here, they should use this game to just send a message out that we ain't for play. And I know that Jackson State is going to be full of weapons, not only just, weapons with transfers, but just weapons from last year. And it ain't really much I can say about this game because we're going to get our first looks with both these teams. But I think with Jackson State, the mindset I know that they're probably going to have coming into this game, and especially for the guys that played last year, is to not have that Celebration Bowl hangover. We saw what FAMU went through, what FAMU, after FAMU won it 2 years ago. With last year, it wasn't so much of a good year according to their standards. So hopefully with Jackson State coming into this year, their mindset is to just not have that Celebration Bowl hangover and to have a completely different mindset. Now, I know they had the mindset of wanting to go undefeated, but their mindset should just be to go, undefeated every week, to win one game at a time. So I do like Jackson State going into this game, and me personally, they should win this game fairly easy, at least for me, by 10, 14 points, just to make a statement. This game should solely be for Jackson State to make a statement, but I won't sleep. Hampton should be a great team this year, even though they are going to be young. But I think if I'm taking a guess, I think Isaiah Freeman might be the starter at quarterback, and he's a transfer from University of Lincoln. But we're going to see what happens. I don't know, but we're going to see a whole, for those that watched Hampton last year, you're going to see a totally different team. But Jaquan Snipes, the running back, is a guy that we're all going to look for. But this Hampton team is going to be completely different from last year. So we'll see how they look. But I'm not going to count them out because, like I said, when they play against other HBCU teams, they normally don't play around. So we'll see what happens. But, of course, I got Jackson State leading up to this game. But we'll see what happens.